It's Sunday morning on CBS, and here again is Jane Pauley.
Hear just a little music from the movie Jaws, and you just know to be afraid. And if you doubt that movie makers are masters of the art of scaring us, consider the musical switcheroo you're about to hear in this story from our David Pogue.
Remember the 1973 horror movie, The Exorcist? Remember this ominous scene?
Who can turn the world on with her smile?
Of course you don't remember it, because we've replaced the music with the theme from the Mary Tyler Moore Show. The original was a little creepier. I mean, would Psycho be the same without the music? It's no surprise that a good scare and a good score go hand in hand.
In Psycho, it's the high that scares us.
Michelle DiBucci teaches music theory at the Juilliard School, and she has composed music for horror movies.
And it's in the stratosphere register of the violin.
She agreed to reveal some of the tools composers use to frighten us. Like
dissonance.
Notes that clash.
Right?
Or low droning notes.
Where's that note going? What's it gonna do?
It's literally suspense.
So sometimes very little does a lot.
We don't like when frequencies clash. Say, for example, a scream.
It almost sounds like you're talking about the Psycho shower scene.
Pretty scary, right? Yeah.
Anthony Lacagnina is a neuroscientist at the Friedman Brain Institute at Mount Sinai Hospital in New York. He says that sometimes spooky music works by imitating sounds that trigger our fight or flight response.
We know that the brain is responding to that by activating those brain regions that are going to be involved in protecting you.
So something that's high and dissonant and screeching might suggest to something unconscious that it's screaming, and that, of course, makes us panicky.
We want to attend to things like, for example, hearing a baby crying, a sound rustling behind you. That would be a very important thing to attend to if it was a predator.
I mean, that's scary. Even the instruments they use, or misuse,
Oh my gosh!
Eric.
affect the creepiness quotient.
Why is that upsetting me? Sounds like this is something that's going to hurt you.
Oh, but no, it's fabulous. Come on.
Anything that's abrupt is going to certainly cause an emotional response in some way.
Like a big chord.
Exactly. Oh, you just spooked me out there, but yes, exactly.
It's easy to understand why a loud crashing noise can startle you in a movie.
Mr. Hammond, I think we're back in business.
But quiet can also be scary, even when it's a lullaby. That's Rosemary's Baby.
Creepy lullaby. I mean, no one's gonna be singing that to their baby.
But maybe the most surprising thing I learned from DiBucci is that over 100 movies all use the exact same tune. One that's almost 1,000 years old.
The Mass for the Dead, or the funeral mass, would have a section called Dies Irae, Dies Illa, Day of Wrath, Day of Impending Doom. And this was the Judgment Day. That was just a scary concept back in the Middle Ages. It's a cascading musical idea. It falls down. And because it's associated with death, it started to be used by composers outside of its reference to the Mass.
And guess what? You hear that Dies Irae melody at the beginning of The Shining. And in Friday the 13th. And Sweeney Todd. And dozens of other movies.
Over a lifetime of movie watching, the brain is going to know when those collections of notes come in, it does not mean something happy is about to happen.
At Carnegie Hall, we caught up with a current maestro of horror, composer Michael Abels, rehearsing a piece he wrote.
Very nice. When the phrase connects, think of it as like you're on the same team.
Abels composed two of the scariest scores of recent years, Get Out from 2017 and Us from earlier this year. Both were written and directed by Jordan Peele. I still remember sitting in the theater and the camera is showing sunlit woods passing by. That's not scary. You put happy music to that. That's a TV commercial.
Exactly.
But you come in with this Swahili chanting and it is a freak out. I noticed that in a lot of horror movies, there is choral singing in another language.
It's all about the unknown. Then when you can't understand what it's saying, then that pulls into your own fears of making things even worse than they might really be, right? And so Jordan really loves having voices in the scores, and there are even more voices in Us.
Yeah, but in Us, it's like children.
Yes, there's Jordan Peele wanting to ruin things for you. He said, let's get children's voices. That'll be really scary.
Of all the notes in the world that just sound wrong together, the tritone may be the most famous. It's two notes, 6 piano keys apart.
It came to in the Middle Ages to be called Diabolus in Musica, the devil in music.
You'll hear the tritone in classical music and the opening notes of Get Out. It's like, here's a tritone. What are you doing?
I guess I'm being really obvious when you set it up like that. Thanks a lot. These are all the colors of darkness and fear and anger and terror, and these colors can be mixed with the colors of joy and contentment and sincerity, and by mixing them you can create the exact balance of these two things. And so the tritone's an important interval, not just in horror, but in music that's even just a little bit tense.
And it's those unsettling sounds that scientists like Anthony Lacagnina are still trying to understand. Is there any aspect of music's effect on us that science hasn't been able to nail down?
We can understand music in terms of how it's processed in the brain, but creating music, we do not understand that very well.
And that, for composer Michael Abels, is what makes horror music so brilliantly thrilling.
It's this really magic power. I kind of love that we don't know. The magic part of it just lights me up.